Hi YouTube! My name is Hannah and welcome back to my channel, Pretty Hippie Me. So I am starting another week using the instructions on the back of a makeup palette. As I mentioned in my last video, which went creatively. I am a beauty beginner, not a beauty guru, and I've been learning a lot about makeup this past year, but there's still a lot that I need to learn and a lot of pushing myself outside my comfort zone that I still want and need to do. I've been picking up low-risk, low-cost makeup palettes from drugstore and Walmart and Target type locations and following the instructions on the back of them to see, first of all, how do those looks actually look on your eye instead of in a drawing or a diagram? And of course, using them as a way to find out how the palette performs. Last time I used the CoverGirl True Naked Jewels palette. I will link it right here. It was an adventure, to say the least. This week I will be using Maybelline the Blushed Nudes palette. It caught my eye because it's so pinky, rosy, and I really honestly don't have a lot of pinks in my makeup collection right now. Also, I'm pretty sure that I was captured by the pop of blue effect. I'll also let you know a little secret. This is the second makeup video I'm putting up, but this is the third one that I've filmed. There was a first video that there was a situation that had to do with me not understanding how video programs worked, and there's a tragic story time there. So I've tried doing this type of video with a different Maybelline palette before, and it did not really perform very well at all. So I thought I would try giving a Maybelline palette another shot so that I could show you how Maybelline instructs, but also so I can see if it was just that palette that was not great, or if it's most Maybelline eyeshadow palettes that are part of this nudes collection. The way that they instruct and provide instructions on the back is through charts. They split the palette up into quads, trios, and duos. Hopefully you can vaguely see the split up. Now, the colors are not given names on this palette, so I'm just gonna say this shade, this shade, this shade, do that kind of thing. So today is my sister's birthday party, so I figure it's time for a fun celebratory look. I'm gonna start right off the bat with a quad. I'm going to use the quad on this side. So the way that the instructions have this look laid out is for this tan matte shade to cover the whole eye area, for the shimmer pink shade beneath it to go on my lid, for this more brown shimmer shade to go in my crease, and for the shimmery black shade beneath it to line my eye. I currently have done my eyebrows and I have my concealer and an eyeshadow primer on my eyelids. That will always be the case underneath all of the looks in this video. I'm gonna go try it out and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, my first look is done and here's what it looks like all together. So, my thoughts on this look. I'm very torn. I'm very conflicted because it looks so different on camera. On camera, I'll admit the colors look stronger. The pink looks more pigmented. There's more of a contrast between the lid shade and the crease shade on camera than there is in person. And it looks really nice. That's why I'm torn, because in person the look is a little more underwhelming. So what I mean is the pink shade looks more colorful in the palette, I feel like, than it does on my eye. I was hoping that this much pigment would also be present on my eyelid in person. And since the pink is the main color in this look and really kind of the focal point, if that's toned down, then the rest of the look, it's kind of meh. I mean, but that being said, it is a nudes palette, so I don't think that they're really going for super high performance pigment. So I guess, like I said in the last video, maybe my expectations are just too high. I just really hope that when I look at an eyeshadow palette, the way that it looks in the palette should be how it looks on my face, right? Let me know in the comments. I mean, the look is good. The base shade, I don't feel like I really needed it. It's basically the same color as my skin. And it also has me thinking, like I am not a dark person. So people with deeper skin tones than me, this quad is not gonna work as well for you, I think. Or you would just have to take out that step of the base shade. But actually, all of the quads that are detailed on here have base shades that are super light. So people with skin any darker than mine, you might find that you just need to not do the base shade. I'm very interested. I don't really have any viewers, but if any viewers of mine have deeper skin tones than mine, please let me know what you do with base shades, because I feel like a lot of times, and including in this palette, there's not really a good base shade for anybody with dark skin of any, like even like remotely like tan and darker. The crease shade is doing good. You know, the black shade that we're using as a liner this time is it's a pretty cool shade. It's a shimmer, and like the shimmers have these like bronzy flecks in it. So I really want to play with it a little bit more. The look is doing what it needs to do. I just think that I had a higher expectation for the pigment on the pink, and when that wasn't there to the level that I thought it would be, which is the way that it looks in the pan, I just got disappointed about that. And like I said, let me know below if that's even an expectation that I should have. But also, maybe it is a thing about skin tone. Like maybe if somebody darker was wearing this pink, there would be more contrast and it would look more pigmented and more bright on a darker foundation than my pasty white skin. So yeah, I give this look like a 7 out of 10. You know, it is a nudes look. It is not screaming. So it makes sense for a Blushed Nudes palette. It's a perfectly fine look. I feel cute going to my sister's birthday party, and really that's what the day is about, is my sister's birthday party, not my makeup. I think that's all I have to say for now, but I'll see you tomorrow for day 2, look 2. Okay, it is time for day 2, look 2 with the Maybelline Blushed Nudes palette. I think that the look I'm going to do today will be a duo. Basically, the back of the palette has a chart that breaks up all of the different shades into pairs. The duo pair that I'd like to use today are these top middle 2 shades. For this duo, they tell you to put this light pink shade on the lid and then this blue shade in the crease. As you look through the instructions on this palette, they really like an accented crease. So that's an interesting thing to learn about Maybelline. Maybelline likes encouraging people to have a funky color in the crease. I don't know how it's gonna go. Based on yesterday, basically I think I'm gonna just look like I have a stripe of blue on my eye. We'll see how it goes, and hopefully Maybelline is not gonna lead me wrong. Okay, the look is done. I just added a little bit of mascara. Also, I'm trying a new lip color. It is burning my lips a little bit, so I might not wear it for long. Anyway, here's what the look looks like all together. So, I think I have to give this look like I don't know, I have to give it like a 4 out of 10. The eyeshadow shades are both doing what they need to do. I think that if my skin was darker and if there was more contrast between the color of the pink shade and the color of my skin, which is quite close to the same color, then it would just be a little bit more vibrant looking. But right now it just kind of looks like I have two slightly, like I have a pinky and a bluish like highlighter on my eye, and that's how I made the eye look instead of using eyeshadows. So yeah, it's very subtle to the extent that it doesn't really look like a look. And sometimes on camera the colors are even stronger than they are in person, but you can see on camera they're not very strong. In person they're also even less strong. Yeah, I really wanted this blue shade to perform because, listen, ideally, if all of these colors performed great, like, it's a nice palette, you know, like there's a lot of good potential, and using the charts on the back, like there are a lot of cute potential looks that you could make if everything actually performed. So that's the issue that I'm finding so far with this palette. And the issue that I found with the other Maybelline palette is basically that, yeah, it's a really pretty palette when it's in the pan, but on your face it just does nothing. So basically I feel like I have pretty glittery eyes, and the lid is like a little bit pinky looking, and the crease is a tiny bit blue looking, but for the most part it's just kind of just shimmer eyes and no real color distinction. If I had to do the duo again, I think I would do this bottom corner duo here. That could be a really pretty duo, you know? I wanted to do this one because I really wanted to see what the blue does. But so yeah, it's a mixed bag because I feel like a lot of these shades, especially the base shades, would look just too like ashy and pasty on people with even like medium skin, let alone dark skin. However, I think that there does need to be an element of like contrast between the very light shades and your skin tone in order for those light shades to actually look like anything at all. I'm kind of conflicted on like who this palette is for and like what skin tone this will look good on. Tell me in the comments, because I don't know. Anyway, moving on to day 3. Okay, we are back for day 3, look 3 from the Maybelline Blushed Nudes palette. Today I'm going to try a trio. I want to get all the way around the palette while I'm trying out these looks, so the trio I'm going to choose today is this one down here, this like shimmery rose color next to a dark brown next to a gray. The way that the instructions have us applying those colors is for the shimmery rose color to cover the entire eye area, for the gray color to shade the lid, and for the brown to go in the crease. So I'm very curious what that's going to look like, so let's find out. Okay, my makeup is done and I'm actually really loving this look. Here's what it looks like all together. I'm also going to quickly mention I just rewatched my close-up footage and I think that this look is a lot better in person than it looked on camera, unfortunately, because I really wanted to share how nice this look is. I hope that you can take my word for it that it really is a nice look. So a couple of fun things to note. First of all, the silver, which we used on the lid, turns out to have a bit of shimmer in it. So it really, I had said before that it was a gray, it came out like a silver. I feel like all the colors blend really nicely, and I was at first a little bit like, I don't want to say concerned, but interested in how like this shimmery red gold rose shade was going to look on my eye, but it turns out that it really worked as a good base. It makes this look really like warm, autumnal. I feel like this would work really well for people with a darker skin tone as well. And then there's enough pigment here that it contrasts. You can actually see the colors that are going on. Honestly, I'm giving this look like a 9.5 out of 10. I really like it. I think that the only improvement that could be made is if the palette instructed some kind of liner from the palette or an inner corner of the eye or brow bone like highlighter, but I think that the combination of these 3 shades is really beautiful. I think that the 3 shades perform and they work well together. So this is literally literally the first look from a Maybelline palette that I feel like it really worked. So I'm really happy. I feel like excited and proud to wear this look out. That's why like I did my face a little bit more before the video. I put on my lip. I put on a little contour. I feel good about this look, and that's ultimately what I want. And yeah, I have nothing negative to say. I'm excited to wear this look out, and I'm even more excited for tomorrow when I get to play with the palette and make my own look. Okay, it is day 4. I am shower fresh and I am ready for today. This is the day where I abandon the instructions and just get to play with the palette and make my own eye look. We've tried out most of the shades at this point, not all of them, but enough of them to be familiar with the palette's quality and performance. So at this time, I'm gonna go make my own makeup look, no instructions, rogue. And we're gonna see how it goes and I will give you my final thoughts on the palette as a whole. Okay, so here is my completed eye look that I did with no instructions. Take a look. So personally, not gonna lie, I am really loving this look. This is kind of the type of look that I imagined. When I saw that the title of the palette was Blushed Nudes, I was thinking pinks and browns and nude, but not like super nude, which is what had been happening earlier in the week. And I have a theory about why this look turned out the way that it did, but I'll get to that in a second. So just I want to show you what I used. So in the crease, I put this dark brown shade that's second from the side on the bottom row. In the outer corner of my eye, I used this top side shade over here. I used the pink shimmer shade on the bottom row on my lid, and then next to the pink shimmer shade is that black shimmer shade, which I used for my top and bottom lash line as a liner. Last, there is a gold highlight shade that I used under my brow bone and in the inner corner of my eye. Before I talk about the eyeshadow's performance, I first need to mention I had a hunch throughout the week that the thing that was messing up the eyeshadows, that the primer I had been using was not ideal for me. Usually what I do is a concealer and then a primer and then my shadows. Today I just used concealer, and it is kind of a mattifying concealer. It was a little bit tacky when I went to put the eyes on. I think that helped with the staying power and with the pigment, because as you might notice, this pink shimmer is really performing way better today than it was the first time that I used it earlier in the week. And I'm super happy with how this looks. I don't know how different it's going to look on camera, but to me in person, it's such a difference in pigment, and honestly, it's staying a lot better. So now that I've changed the base to just being concealer, any issues with pigment or staying power I think are going to have more to do with my inexperienced beauty beginner user error, or the order within which I put things on, rather than the shadows just like being crappy. And that's something for you to know too, my fellow beauty beginners out there, is that maybe you're not bad at eyeshadow, maybe you're just not using the right primer or concealer or the right base underneath. It also makes me concerned that the last palette review that I did with the CoverGirl palette, maybe the issue with all of those colors, not all of them, some of them were just bad, but maybe some of them were a little bit issue prone because my primer might not have been good. So that's a possibility. I'm like rethinking everything about my life right now. I will mention that this look for today is the second look. There was a previous look that I tried to do and I had to just wash it off because it did not work. Basically what killed that look was the black shimmer on the bottom. It has really good staying power to the extent that it's hard to blend. So I was trying to use that shade for the outer corner of my eye. I was doing kind of a smokier look. It was going like moderately okay, but still underwhelming, but moderately okay. And then I put on the black shimmer shadow and it just like got stuck, and I kept blending it out and it kept not moving. So, you know, it has a lot of staying power, that shade. Anyway, the moral of the story is I'm happy with the look that I have right here, right now, at the end of the day. This is kind of much more in line with what I like from makeup. It's pigmented. It's not like, oh, is she wearing eyeshadow? I can't tell. Like, it's there. I put work into my makeup. I put time into it. I put a little money into it, not a ton. But if I'm wearing it, I want it to look like it's there on purpose and like there was a design. This is my version of like a more nudes kind of look, where there is pigment there. There is a little bit of color there. It's not just like brown, 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 brown. I can wear this with literally any outfit. I'm about to go to work later today. I feel like I'm gonna look nice at the store, and I'm also not gonna look like crazy colors, look at me, I did my makeup, but I'm gonna look like put together. So now the palette as a whole, it's hard because for the first 3 looks of the week, I was using a bad primer. I feel like there's a part of me that wants to just like redo the whole week, but that's not realistic for my life. So with the knowledge that I used an iffy primer, it's going to raise my rating, and I'm going to give this palette like an 8 out of 10 because I do think that the color scheme is really nice. We got at least 2 good looks out of it with the trio and the look that I'm wearing today. We improved on the quad basically with today's look, and with the right base underneath, the shades that I was complaining about not having any pigment started to have good pigment. So I think that it's there. What I did notice in the look that I did not end up wearing for you for this final look today, the matte shades, and this is where I think the rubber hits the road with drugstore palettes especially, is how the matte shades perform. The matte shades were kind of just like blending together and not in a way that like I wanted them to. Instead of looking like two different colors that had a nice ombre effect blending into each other, it was more kind of like as soon as my brush touched it, it turned into one color. So I think that the matte shades were kind of iffy for me. And then Maybelline. If you're gonna do a palette with a pop of blue effect, the blue has to actually look blue when it's on your eye. I tried it again for today's look in the look that I didn't end up wearing because it got messed up. For the second time, it didn't really look blue. It looked, if anything, like kind of an icy white. It reminded me of snow. The tiniest subtle touch of a blue hint to it, but that's not what it looks like in this palette. If you're gonna use a bright blue color, whether it's a highlight or a shimmer shade, honestly, I don't know at this point what it's intended for. If you're gonna do that pop of blue effect, the blue has to pop on your eye as well as in the palette. And so that's part of why I'm docking it a couple points, to be honest with you. I mentioned the other Maybelline palette that I didn't end up showing you guys. This one was way better. So I'm definitely not going to write off the whole brand. I'm not going to write off this line of palettes that they're doing. I will try out other Maybelline palettes in the future, I think. And I think that what it's coming down to is making sure that you have the right base underneath. For me, it's my concealer, but no longer using my primer. It's just about kind of doing that adjusting and figuring out what's right for your skin, for your eyes, for the look that you're going for. But anyway, yeah, I feel like I had an 8 out of 10 experience with this palette, so that's the rating that I gave it. And it taught me about my eyelids and what kind of primer I need to avoid and what kind of primer I need to have. So I learned something this week. Thank you, Maybelline. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me on another week of wearing a palette and being, moderate at being able to do my makeup. If this video was helpful for you, please let me know in the comments. Let me know if you've tried this palette or another similar Maybelline palette. Let me know if you have a palette in mind that has instructions on it that I could follow along and see how those looks come out. I'd love to talk with you in the comments and have a conversation, and we can talk about what it's like to be a beauty beginner in a world of beauty gurus. It's fun. But thank you so much for following along. Please do me a favor and like this video. If you like this content, please subscribe to my channel. It really does mean a lot to me when you do that. I have 23 subscribers right now, and I'm surprised that I even have that many. So it really does mean a lot to me when people are even moderately interested in what I'm doing. So please subscribe if you do like this content. It tells me I should make more videos like this. And yeah, thank you so much again for watching, and I hope I'll see you soon in the next one.